A profile of the celebrated screen comedian Will Hay.
In 1942, Will Hay came face to face with himself for the first time. Characteristically, he was not impressed with what he saw.
I seem to know your face as well as my own. Blimey, it is my own. Verdammter Schweinhund und Schafskopf mit einem Gesicht wie ein ausgemeldeter Schnitzel. Hey, he was calling me? Should I have a face like a half-baked Venus Schnitzel? Well, look at him, he's a half-baked, is he?
There seems to be no mistake this time. Good news, sir. This is our man, all right, sir. And they got on him and tried to use it again.
You've got a bit of a cheek barging about all over the country with a face like mine. But, looking at me, for two things, I'd give you in charge. Sauce.
Take him to the Major Bishop's office. Get down a statement if you can make one. I'll question him later. Very good, sir. Come on, you.
But don't let him get away this time. Nice mess he got me into.
The real Will Hay was in many ways the opposite of his stage and screen persona. Later, in this wartime farce, he's forced to pilot a plane.
What are you first? What's the fun thing to do? Pull back on the stick. Pull back on the stick. Back.
But in real life, Hay was an accomplished pilot.
Oh, get it, all right, don't worry. Don't worry. I think I've got the hang of this now. Look, you have. Hey, what's happening? I thought you said you got the hang of this. Hey, look! We're upside down. What? Now you've done it. We're probably in a suit. Well, surely I can't let it fly off of me, can I? Now, don't start arguing. Let's get the thing right way up. All right, all right. Wait a minute, Argent. Yeah, but how? Well, whatever you did before, do the opposite. Well, I don't know what shows it for what now with all upside down.
Here, wait a minute. If you were upside down as well, you could. You hoist you to position.
What?
Yes, come on.
Oh, you don't know.
Come on, boys.
No, you don't.
Ready, ready. One, two, three.
And again.
Now then, can you reach?
Reach?
Yes.
I'm liable to any minute. Go on, try and turn it over. Turn it over? Right.
Hay was already 54 when this film was released, and he'd only been making films for 10 years. He'd made his name on the music hall stages of the 20s. On an American tour in 1927, he'd witnessed an early performance of sound cinema, but thought it'd be a 9 days wonder. Not surprising, since it threatened the finely honed form of stage act that he'd developed. His most famous routine was the schoolmaster sketch, involving a class of two, a young pupil and a preposterously old man. Exactly the combination of his most successful film, Oh, Mr. Porter, whose title itself derives from an old music hall song.
Oh, Mr. Porter, what shall I do? I want to go to Birmingham and they're taking me on to cruise. Send me back to London as quickly as you can. Oh, Mr. Porter, what a silly girl I am.
Is this a private fight or can anybody join in?
The music hall audience was notoriously difficult, and acts had to judge their timing exactly, or else trouble was allowed to break out. The laughter was long and loud for the successful comedy act, and Hay had to include bits of irrelevant business to allow it to subside. But transferring this trick to cinema was no easy matter, as it was impossible in the studio to predict how any cinema audience would react. It took several years to perfect Hay's special combination of stutter, wheeze, and grimace, which provides enough space for laughter without seeming to do so.
Come in. Oh, I believe I share this room with you. Eh? Oh, splendid, splendid. How do you do? Oh, how do you do? Yes. Oh, sorry. My name's Tisdale. Games and Bedford boys. Oh, my name's Lamb. Games with very forward boys. Good heavens. Eton? No, I haven't yet, no. Oh, no, I mean the tie. Tie? Huh? Yes, your fellow old soldier. Yes, Johnny, yes, quite. Splendid. What year? What year were you there? Several years. Well, what a marvelous thing in a place like this, running into an OE. Running into a what? OE. OE? Yes, Old Etonian. OE. Oh, all right. Yes. Well, we must have a jolly long chat about the old place. Yes, very much, yes, Sunday. Doesn't anybody go to bed here? Oh, I'm awfully sorry. You must be absolutely fagged out. I'm absolutely DT. DT? Dog tired. Dog... Oh, does Dr. Winter know you're here? Yes, I had a little chat with him. I didn't stay long. Seems to be in trouble. Trouble? What sort of trouble? He's got rats in his wainscot. Oh, it's very uncomfortable. Of course, a lot of peculiar things happen around here. They say the place is haunted. But I don't believe all that sort of before. No, nor do I. You know, that Scotch gatekeeper or whatever he is told me a lot of rubbish about phantom pipes and drowned brides. Yeah, never heard such a lot of Tommy Rock. No, it's amazing what some people will believe. Yes, I knew a fellow who spent the night with a headless nun. What, no head? Yes, nun. Yes, he was in bed and this nun walked straight through the wall, right through the wall, Mark. Gets in the bed and lies down.
Nowadays, we see Hayes films at home on television, without hundreds of other people sitting around us laughing loudly. So the gaps he provides for laughter sometimes seem too obvious, especially when the joke is very specific, like this one about Hitler's real name.
Schickelgruber! Stop! Well, meine Herren, I think we'd better start from the beginning. Now, you've been dropped by parachute in a field, say, near Winter. What would you do?
You. I shall proceed to the nearest manufacturer in town, sir, and obtain respectable employment.
That's very good.
Remembering, of course, to carry my gas mask, sir.
Ah, well, that's where you're wrong to start with.
Wrong to remember to carry my gas mask?
Certainly. To be perfectly English, you must always remember to forget to carry your gas mask. And you must learn to think like the British, look like the British, and talk like the British. I suppose you're in the local.
The local, sir?
Yes, the local. The boozer.
The boozer, sir?
Yes, like the old Woman Bush or the Gold Eagle.
Oh, you mean a local beer cellar, sir?
Well, a local beer cellar, quite, yes, right. You're there and you're talking about the war. Now, you class. Someone says to you, well, what do you think of the news, mate? What would you reply?
I should say, by Jove, old fruit, I find it increasingly disheartening. I fear we Britons are no match for the glorious German army.
Blimey! Did you hear that? Well, you wouldn't last long with that sort of tripe. Now, go on, you ask me.
What do you think of the news, mate?
Well, I should say, if you ask me, I think there's a nasty surprise packet coming to poor, ruddy old Adolf. Well, I'm speaking now as a British citizen, would you see?
Do they really talk like that, sir?
Oh, that's high-class saloon bar stuff. If you want to hear what they say...
Peter Ustinov's stiff-necked Hitler Jugend is easy prey for Hayes' schoolmaster, here parachuted behind enemy lines. For the essence of Hayes' schoolmaster is that all his information is bogus. He's a complete fraud, trying to bluster his way through without being found out.
Professor, perhaps you'll give us an example from your own part of the world.
Which particular part?
Chile?
No.
Well, we'll say Brazil then. How does Brazil stand economically with, say, Portugal?
With Portugal? Very well indeed, I should think.
In the matter of exports, for instance.
Well, the chief export from Portugal is port, and the chief export from Brazil is nuts. Now, the economic situation between port and nuts, that is to say, between Portugal and Brazil, is that the Brazilians want to drink port with their nuts, and the Portuguese want to eat nuts with their port. So the more the export of port from Portuguese ports, which the Brazilian ports import, and the greater the export of nuts from the Brazilian ports, which they export, and the Portuguese ports import, well, in other words, the people of Brazil are bound to grow more and more nuts.
Well, what happens when saturation point is reached?
You mean when the people of both countries are saturated with port and nuts?
Yeah.
Well, there's a chance for England to jump in and increase her export of salt.
Salt?
No, salts from Epsom.
Bless my soul.
In real life, Hay was the opposite of his screen character.
There seems to be quite a lot of fuss being made about this spot, which I discovered on Saturn last Thursday night. But this spot, this new spot, allows us to see the globe actually rotating, which it does in about 10¼ hours.
He was an accomplished amateur scientist and engineer, and wrote passages into the scripts of his films which his screen character could not possibly understand.
Now, Vaughan, as you're so smart, perhaps you'll enlighten me as to the extent of your scientific knowledge, or lack of it.
Well, up to last term, we got as far as general analysis of radioactive elements, internal pressures and temperatures of stars of spectral type K, the determination of parallax by trigonometrical calculus, the diffusion of inert gases under the molecular disturbance of latent heat.
Is that all? Haven't learned much, have you? Well, in that case, we'll start with the law of gravity as determined by Sir Isaac Pitman.
That's shorthand. The Isaac you want's Newton.
I know. I was only trying to catch you. Sir Isaac Newton. Now, the law of gravity...
Just a minute, old boy. We had the law of gravity in our first year.
So what?
So what's the sense of taking it again when we know all about it?
You may know all about it, but I don't know. I mean, how do I know you know all about it?
Because I say so.
Oh, and am I supposed to take your word?
Yes, if you don't want to start something.
Well, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to start something, if you give me a chance. We'll take the law of gravity. Whether you had it your first year, your second, or your last year. And whether you know anything about it or not. Well, the law of gravity was invented by Sir Isaac Newton.
He didn't invent it. He discovered it.
Well, that's the same thing, isn't it? What's the matter with you?
No, old boy. You see, you can discover gold, but you don't invent it.
Listen, come on. That's beside the point. Sir Isaac Newton discovered the law of gravity through an apple.
What at?
Huh?
What at?
What at?
Yes, what at?
Discovered the law of gravity through an apple? What at? What are you talking about?
You said he threw an apple. Well, what at?
Who said he threw an apple?
You did.
I did not.
He did, didn't he, boys?
I didn't say that at all. I said through an apple. I said Sir Isaac Newton discovered the law of gravity through an apple. I didn't mean he threw the apple. I meant that he could see through it. He was, Now, Newton was...
Outraged dignity and failing authority are only one aspect of this schoolmaster. Hayes' genius lies in making it clear that he'd rather be one of the boys than be in charge of them.
Well, I shall report this.
Sir, Halloween comes but once a year.
Who?
Halloween.
What's she going to do with it?
The Feast of Halloween, sir, an old Scottish custom. It's our first visit here, so we ought to observe it.
Oh, come on, be a sport, sir.
I don't know.
Oh, please, sir, everyone does it.
Do they? Well, if it only comes once
Oh,
a year.
thank you, sir. Come on, boys. Mr. Land says eat, drink, and be merry.
Welcome to the Dunbayne Bottle Party, sir. The snappiest night spot in the Isle of Skye. Help yourself. Eat some drinks on the house, sir.
Yes, sir. Have a drink.
Wait a minute. Don't you think we ought to have somebody keeping watch, just in case anybody came up?
Oh, good idea, sir. Plenty of money. You go and keep caving. Okay.
That's better. You know, you boys, you want to be more careful when you throw your rubbish. That kid you threw out the window hit me on the head. Might have hit somebody who mattered. I mean, somebody who understands less about boys than I do. Besides, it's very untidy. You should put your rubbish in a paper bag.
Oh, thanks for the tip, sir. Here, boys, put all your rubbish in this paper bag.
Hey, how about another spot of whisk? Lemonade, sir.
Yeah, I think I will. Yeah. Ah, they grow jolly good lemons in Scotland, don't they? As far as I want to go, as far as I want to go, I'll be pleased to dine with you at the Hotel Troubadour. I've got a truly big soul, if you don't mind having a fish and chips as far as I want to go.
All of this, too, is rather the opposite of the real Will Hay. He was ruthless with his stage subordinates, the long line of people, including his nephew and his wife, who played the pupils in his schoolmaster routine. While he was earning £500 a week, he was still paying each of them £10 or less.
Oh, dear. Haven't I told you I was never to be disturbed? I'm very busy.
But it's your daughter, sir. Oh, very good, sir.
You know your way up, Miss Garland?
Yes, thank you.
Now,
Daddy, you promised to give me a job as soon as I'd learned typing.
My dear, this place is simply full of young ladies who've got jobs here simply because they learn typing.
Oh, well, then why not give me something else to do? I don't care what kind of a job it is.
Nobody here cares what kind of a job it is. That's why we're all so competent.
I can bring in some new ideas.
New ideas. Don't you understand, my dear, that an organization of this kind must be run on strict military lines? We can't be bothered with new ideas.
Hay himself provided a stream of new ideas for his stage act, but woe betide any other performer who suggested a new piece of business. There are many tales of the cold glares that they received. When his screen career had taken off, Hay left his wife and entered into a long relationship with a Norwegian woman, Randi Kopstad. The fact that they never married is reputed to have cost him a knighthood.
Just a little bit. Why, you have got a handsome friend. No, you silly. Come on and make yourself at home.
Allow me to introduce you to the great Lillian Taylor in the flesh.
Yes, so I see.
Oh, Saucy. You are all right. She's my friend, Mr. Skinner. Not me, Mr. Skinner.
Yes, Skinner of the Stock Exchange, I think.
I'm not stockbroker, that I don't know.
Yeah. Well, won't you sit down?
Thanks, I don't mind if I do.
Oh, it's all right, Skinner. She won't bite. Won't she?
Can't you put your arm around me?
Why, do you want me to?
Come on. I might fall over.
Yeah, oh, she is. Now we shan't be long.
Oh, what's to say? Is your hand cold?
Oh, well, cold hand, warm heart, you know.
Oh.
Hay was clearly uncomfortable in drag, and his characteristic sniff was even more emphasized than usual.
Well, I hope I shan't keep you awake, sister. You know, I read for hours and hours.
Oh, do you?
It takes me so long to get to sleep.
Oh, does it?
I simply can't get used to changing over from night duty.
Changing is difficult, isn't it?
I see you stick to the old-fashioned undies.
It's more a case of them sticking to me.
What a strange woman you are, sister.
Navy, sir?
When a wartime propaganda film required that Hay's character actually knew what he was talking about, the tried and tested formula began to break down.
It's Navy, sir.
Oh, dummy, it's Navy Search. The word's an abbreviation for the Navigational Certificate.
All right, you win. But I'll lay an even tanny, you don't know what the blinking things are for.
Oh, yes, I do. It's to get out of having your cargo examined while you're at sea.
Why?
Oh, lubberduck. No doubt you failed to notice that the French are out of the war and the Italians are in it.
You don't say.
Well, consequently, the British Navy's got a lot more work to do and less ships to do it with.
Skipper, you're a marvel.
So in future, all cargoes are going to be examined at the port where they're loaded. And if the cargo isn't contraband, then the ship will get a navy cert which entitles to go upon a lawful occasion.
But if the cargo is contraband, what's to prevent her from proceeding on her unlawful occasion?
What's to prevent her? Why, the British Navy, you big...
And if she gives them the go-by, what's to prevent her from mucking along without her, etc., etc., etc.? Can you tell me that?
Can you tell me if that's a blending?
It's a Heichel. Look, as I was saying...
Ow! Come and take the wheel while we have a go at this jerry.
Look, Skipper, as I was saying, what's to...
Ben, there's a jerry upstairs. Give us all you've got.
What's to prevent her from mucking along with her? Here, keep her dodging about a bit if he comes for us. As I was saying, what's to prevent her mucking along with her?
She won't be given no ship's warrant. Use your load, can't you?
And supposing she isn't?
I think he's spotted us. He's turning this way.
Supposing she isn't?
Isn't what? Oh, yes. Well, supposing he puts in the port to fill his bunkers. Well, the chances are the bunkers company be a British one. And if the skipper hasn't got a ship's warrant, they won't fill his bunkers.
Well, what's to prevent him going elsewhere?
Oh, yeah, here he comes. You wasted good bullets putting a gun into your hand.
You answer my question.
Hay's propaganda was more effective and amusing when his character was able to get away with misinforming his stuck-up German pupils.
Oh, by the way, that reminds me. When you get to England, you mustn't keep on doing this. Unless you want to stop a bus or leave the room or something.
But have the British no form of ceremonial salutation, sir?
No what? No salutation? Oh, yes. Yes, of course
they have, yes. Yes, they do this. You keep it all practice it. So simple, simply this. 1, 2, 1, 2. And every time you do it, you must be thinking of your glorious fatherland. Now stand up, gentlemen. Hands in position. That's right. Now ready? Go. 1, 2. Just a moment, just a moment. Not to me, gentlemen. Not to me. To our beloved Führer. You ready? Go.
By this time, Hay's popularity was declining. His greatest success, Oh, Mr. Porter, had been made 5 years before. It cost a few £1,000s and took over $500,000 at the box office. This was also the time of his weekly comedy broadcasts on BBC Radio, which led to a famous dispute when his show was faded out to make way for a prime ministerial broadcast by Neville Chamberlain. Hay was furious and vowed never to work for the BBC again, a vow that he kept for several years.
What the devil's going on here? Stop it at once. Really, sir? Who are you? Well, I like that. Gentlemen, please, we're on the air. Come outside. I want a full explanation. This is the BBC Home Service. I must apologize for a slight technical hitch.
Towards the end of the war, Hay made what turned out to be his last film. For the first and only time, he's credited as director. And it shows every sign that, at 55, he wanted to change direction. It's a black comedy which anticipates the idea of Ealing Studios' later Kind Hearts and Coronets.
His Venerable Lordship. I've had a little time to think these last few years about his Lordship and a few others who helped to incarcerate me. The more I thought, the more I decided just what I had to do when I came out.
Why, say, I do hope I can start forging again.
No, not forging. I've a duty to myself now. A duty to execute, as you might say.
To execute?
To execute those that put me behind the bars.
Good gracious.
First the judge, I said to myself. Then the rest of them, one by one. 6 little dramas of retribution. All beautifully staged. Thought I was in earnest, didn't you? I will have my little joke.
Hay becomes entangled with unsavory characters who, at the time, seemed more like genuine East End gangsters than any of the comic villains who had populated his previous films.
Oh, bad luck, because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little aces. Would you believe it?
No, I wouldn't. Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 little aces too.
Oh, I say, what an extraordinary coincidence.
It's not what I'd call it.
Well, maybe the 2 packs have got mixed up together.
You don't say.
Well, look, I tell you what, I won't claim my winnings for this hand. How's that?
No, but you'll keep what you won up to now.
Oh, naturally.
He says naturally.
He says naturally.
I'll see you later, boys.
Yes, well, I must be going too.
Sit down. Stay where you are.
Oh, you want to talk about Grimshaw?
I want to talk about what happened to a bloke called Johnny the Fox. He set in on a game of poker with us not for last. Just like it might have been you.
Oh, really?
He finished up by holding 4 aces. Just like it might have been you. Stay put, mister. I ain't finished yet. And when they fished Johnny the Fox's body out of the river, he was missing 1 or 2 things. His left ear and his nose.
His left ear and his nose?
Yes. Next morning, they found his ear in Houndsditch and his nose in Kensington Gore.
Kensington Gore?
I said Gore. Let me make a clean cut of it, mister.
Hay proved unable to follow up on this promising new direction in his filmmaking. A number of strokes incapacitated him and robbed him of the power of speech for a time. Increasingly embittered and lonely, he rowed with Randy Kopstadt, who left him for good. In 1949, he seemed to have recovered enough to appear in public again, but this was just a brief respite. A further stroke proved fatal.
It's no good, my learned friend. I've got 6 feet, Redfern and Studer, and now I'm a pair of you.
Perhaps it was prophetic that his final screen appearance left him in an impossible position.
Well, our first case turned out all right. Another one its problem will be.
Our next problem is how to get down from here.
And after the break, Will Hayes stars as a spy and his doppelganger in wartime comedy The Goose Steps Out. That's next here on 4.